Okay, so for the presentations in speech class, you are going to use citations. You need to be able to go find good, solid information, and you need to be able to cite it in the presentation. So you basically use in-text citations. It is a key part of being able to give a good presentation. It's also, it should be a key part just being able to get a college degree. The idea that you can go find information and basically be a connoisseur of information and decide which information is legitimate and which information is not. Okay. Kind of as an attention getter, we have these at the beginning of the presentations. If you don't use citations, but you went and got the information from someplace, technically that's plagiarism, and you should get a 0, and you should actually come up on academic charges. I don't go through all that. However, just to express how important this is, if you go and give a presentation and you got the information from someplace and you don't cite that information, it's plagiarism. It is a form of it. Most people think of plagiarism as written plagiarism. It can also be verbal. Just to kind of start off, citations do matter. Where you get your information from does matter. Some people have been calling this a post-truth world. I started teaching this class several years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. Things have changed so much in the past 6, 7 years as far as the quality of the information that people have. You get to pick your beliefs, what you want to choose to believe. You do not get to pick your facts. And for some reason, somehow, facts have become conflated with beliefs, and they are two separate things. A couple of examples I used to talk about was flat earthers and QAnon. This stuff is literally regressive. So for flat earthers, they believe that the earth is flat. It's literally regressive. Scientific advancements the last couple thousand years have shown that the earth is spherical. So the idea that we are going backwards like that, I find disturbing, one. Two, the people that do this and believe in these kinds of things, one of the things they're trying to do is they want to feel special. They want to feel like they know something that other people don't. Instead of doing that, what you could do is just go through information and learn and become better and become smarter. Go get a college degree, things of that nature. But that's too hard. It's a lot easier to believe in these weird conspiracy theories. Several years ago, I used to actually go through all the QAnon stuff. Back then, students hadn't even heard of QAnon, but everybody's pretty familiar with QAnon now. It's absurd. If you go through and look and see what they actually believe, the information, where it comes from, they don't even know where it comes from. It's total absurdities. And so if you're getting your information from this guy, something's wrong. You need to go find better sources. So that's what we're going to talk about in this presentation. Academic research, it's actually pretty easy if you want to do that. Let me go back here. When I was an undergraduate, I did a lot of psychology research, and so the databases at the OSU library, I would use PsycInfo. They've got a million different databases where you can find good, legitimate, peer-reviewed information. So peer-reviewed, what that is, you'll write the article, you have 2 reviewers of the article, they'll review the article, then they'll send their recommendations to the editor sends it back to you, maybe they want you to change a few things, and then they'll publish it, or not. They'll reject it because it's not good, the quality's not up to snuff. But there's at least a process there that they go through to try to ensure the quality. Is it always perfect? No. Is it better than nothing? Absolutely. Anyways, academic research, peer-reviewed, you could use these databases. If I was to do research now, I might actually use Google Scholar, at least quickly to look up something, because there's some, it's a really nice website. For example, I was looking at the negatives of spanking. I teach developmental psychology. Here's some articles. These are peer-reviewed journals that these articles are in. A couple different things to point out here too. One, it shows cited by. So this article here has been cited by 363 other authors. 363 other papers have been published that used this as a citation, meaning that people in the field are using it, meaning it has what's called magnitude, that people in the field think that it's a good article. So that's a good way of picking a citation. Does it have magnitude? Do the professionals, the people that actually know about this field, do they think it's a good article? You could also, so if a new article came out and it only has 2 citations, it's only been cited 2 other times, but it came from 2020, that makes sense because people haven't had the time to use it as a citation. However, so this article here, it is from 2005. It's only been cited twice. It is not high in magnitude, so it might not be the best reference to use. Non-academic research is going to be a little bit more difficult because on the internet, anybody can publish anything anywhere. So there's no peer-reviewed process. There's no review process at all. Anybody can write anything. Positives and negatives to that. Free speech, that's great. However, if you're posting stuff and people are believing it to be fact and it's just some random guy writing a blog, that's not good. As a couple of examples that I'll go through here, Wikipedia can cause you to lose a letter grade. You need to go and check the source. So as an example, one night several years ago, I was looking at bows and arrows. I know it's kind of weird, but I was looking at bows and arrows on the internet. What I was curious about is I thought I had heard that in Australia, they didn't have bows and arrows. They just had boomerangs. I was like, that's really weird. Is that true? And so I look it up. Just like everybody else, the first thing I do is Google it. The first thing that comes up is Wikipedia. And so I look into this, and there is a citation that talks about that. It says, use of the bow seems to have spread to every inhabited region except for Australia and most of Oceania. It's like, all right, well, interesting. When you're using Wikipedia, they will have a citation there. So here's it's number 11. So I click it. It's not good. I can already tell. One, it doesn't link to anything. So it's not telling me where this actually came from. Is this Aborigine weapons and tools? Is that a book? Is that an article? Is it a website? There's nothing on here that tells me that. So I already know that this is a bad website, but just to or a bad citation, but to go through the process, I did. M.H. Monroe, I don't know if he's a leader in the field. I don't know anything like that. I can't even tell where it's from, but what I did do is I just searched this part of the quote, and this website comes up. So you look at this website, it's like, does this look like a good, legitimate website? Well, one, I'm already having to scroll across to be able to read it. That's not a good sign. It was last updated 2013. Not a good sign. So this is getting close to 10 years old since anybody's even touched this. It's a website. This looks like an article that's been written on the website. Where's the author? It's not up here. The author is at the bottom. I'm not sure the exact quote on that Wikipedia is on this page. But anyways, the author, M.H. Monroe, who is that? Is he a leader in the field? No idea. There is an email if you want to email him. But as far as, does this feel like a good, legit website? Is it something that you should stake your reputation on, your academic reputation on? Absolutely not. The idea that maybe bows and arrows were not in Australia is definitely a possibility, but you're going to want to go find a good citation for that from a person that's actually studied that. Maybe somebody that has a PhD in that. Maybe somebody that wrote a book on that. Something along those lines. Not some random website that's linked to from a Wikipedia. That's not good research. So yes, when you go to the website, if you can use Wikipedia kind of as a guide, and so maybe it will take you off to some good sources. When you get to those sources, what you need to do is like, where did this information come from? Who is the person that wrote this? Are they legitimate? Are they biased? You need to ask yourself all those questions. As an example, I don't think this website's up anymore, but this was a great example for class, at least for this presentation. If you Googled Martin Luther King Jr., about the third or fourth one that would come up, here's some other ones, history.com, National Geographic Kids. They sound like legitimate websites. This one here, a true historical examination, the truth about him, a valuable resource for teachers and students alike. Sounds like a good website. You click on it, you start reading it, you're like, this doesn't seem right. These don't seem like the things MLK said. They were just very peculiar things. It's like, this doesn't add up. This doesn't feel like a good website. You scroll to the bottom of the website. The owners of the website was a group named Stormfront. Stormfront, if you are not aware, are neo-Nazis. So these neo-Nazis created this website over Martin Luther King Jr. to spread their propaganda. The entire website is just total flagrant lies. They created this, they got it up on the Google search to like 3 or 4. And so kids are going and they're doing their book reports over Martin Luther King Jr. and they're using neo-Nazis for citations. It's gross. It's disgusting. And so again, this is one of the reasons why you need to know where your information comes from. Is it biased? Just kind of another random example. When I was making this presentation several years ago, I saw this on Facebook. One of my friends had posted it. This is an old football player, Emmitt Smith. He's holding a shirt that says stand for the flag, kneel for the cross. I look at it, I can immediately tell that this is photoshopped. That's not him holding that shirt. It's clear as day to me. Not to everybody else though, because people will repost this like, hey, look what Emmitt Smith thinks. It's not true. It was originally Aaron Rodgers. He wasn't holding this shirt either, but this was the original fake. And they've had a million other fakes that are similar to it. For example, obviously Trump is not holding a shirt that says Trumpkin. But these are the things that get posted on Facebook, social media, because people don't check the sources. They don't see, where did this information actually come from? Is this a Photoshop? People don't look into it. They just post it and assume it's true and move on with their lives. It, again, not good research. When you are picking news sources, this is a little bit more tricky nowadays. Some people do not believe sources at this end. Some people don't believe sources at the other end. So, for example, some people are not going to believe a citation from CNN. Some people are not going to believe a citation from Fox News. Your best way around this is to pick a citation that is respected kind of in the middle. So, for example, this PBS News, AP, NPR are generally considered by a lot of people to be less biased. Another one I've got here, this is from 2008. It's a mediabiaschart.com. I think they've updated it if you wanted to go check it out. People that are conservative over here at this area, but that are too far conservative. People that are too liberal at this end. And then here, people in the middle that people generally agree upon are impartial, like Reuters and AP, Bloomberg, etc. So when you're picking your citations, you might try to get in this area. If you pick from this area or this area over here, you are going to alienate some of your audience. And so if one person hears a citation from CNN, they're like, I'm not listening to any more of this presentation. I don't believe them. Fake news. Same thing with Fox News for some other people. As some examples here, like InfoWars has told some horribly flagrant lies in the past. For example, that Sandy Hook didn't actually happen. They called some of the parents who had their kids murdered, they called them crisis actors. They said they didn't actually have kids and they were just basically pretending and they were paid actors. Horrible lies. If you used this as a citation and I was an audience member, if you used InfoWars, I don't like your presentation. It is going to be really hard for me to get over. And as far as me grading the presentations, that's not a legitimate citation. We're going to have an issue with the grading there. So yes, when you're picking your citations for news sources, you're going to alienate some people if you pick it either into the extreme. Make sure you're using legitimate sources, because if you don't, you will lose points. Skepticism is okay. So there are some things that are reported in the news that aren't true. And so if you can find good citations that try to get to the bottom of that and try to find out what the real truth is, that's fine. But lunatic fringe, like things like saying that Sandy Hook didn't actually happen, that's too far and it's offensive to say that. To say something like Sandy Hook didn't happen is just offensive. Okay, on these grading rubrics, read through this. You use the required number, that you have different source types so that you're not using just all websites. Use articles, books, mix it up some. And that you cite them. So there's 4 on this one. This is for the informative presentation. So that you have the correct number, they're accurate, high quality sources, basically the whole thing that we've been talking about. They are in APA style too. That you've said them orally and that they are in your planning report. So you have to say these citations basically in text. You'll say according to AP and then you'll go through it, or blah, 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 blah. I got that from AP. When you're getting your citations, they do have to be in APA. If you're using Google Scholar, like I was talking about earlier, there's a great button on here, this button right here. If you click that, it'll give you the citation and all you have to do is copy and paste it over. You click it, there it is, APA style. Just copy that, move it right over. Easy peasy. If you don't want to do that, you're not on Google Scholar for whatever reason, there are websites that you can use like Citation Machine, I think maybe EasyBib, Reference, I don't remember. There's a few other ones. If you want to look them up, you can. You could do like I did, which I actually wrote up the citations. You can go to Purdue, their writing lab, and look up how to do that. It's not that difficult, but it is a little bit more time consuming than just clicking the button from Google Scholar. Okay, to wrap this up, my sister sent me this picture a while back. I guess some kid had given a presentation, and this was his final slide. Works cited. I already knew a lot about this, so I didn't have to cite anything. Here's a picture of Danny DeVito. Absolutely not. Do not do that on your presentations, not if you want to get a good grade. So at the end of the day, in these presentations, you need the citations, you need the right number, they need to be high quality, and you need to say them orally out loud. Additionally, not just in this class, but to be able to get a college degree, you should be able to do some research and you should be able to judge the quality of the information that you're receiving. You should be able to tell that a book written by somebody that has a PhD in a specific field is a far superior resource than Wikipedia. All right, if you have any questions about that, head over to the virtual office discussion area and let me know. Thank you for listening.